To give people a minute or two to trickle in and join us as we're getting started right at 6 p.m. on the dot. So I'm coming to you live from Kentucky right now. If you're here with us already and you're hanging out in the chat, share where you're from and just say hi. I know we have a few people already so far. Hi, hi. So I'm going to put down, I am in Kentucky. Thank you again for joining us. And I want to start by saying welcome. Welcome to the care system that gets chiropractors more appointments from the patient list that they already have. That's what we're here to talk about. And let's go ahead and um, get started. Thank you, Kathy. We just adore our little kitty here. He is a rescue that my boyfriend's parents found just in the middle of a highway. He just does a tiny, tiny little thing. And we already have a couple of cats. So they brought him to us to rescue, and we just couldn't uh, even think of parting with him. So he has to just stay with us. He was like an instant member of our family, and our other cats who were really big rag dolls, they're across the room asleep on their cat tower right now, but they trickle over every now and then during my webinars too. So you might see one of them, but they've just all fit in together so well. So he's back behind me in this little corner here, hanging out, and we just love him. So he's here to stay. Started out just being a temporary rescue, and here we are, kitten parents. So, hi again. I'm Narissa, the founder of Chiro Connect. I've been in chiropractic marketing for over 15 years now, and I've worked with thousands of practices. And I just really want to thank you for spending part of your evening with me. At any point in time that you have questions during this webinar, if you have a question, if you want me to stop and explain something, I'll try to pay attention to the chat. Otherwise, type your questions in as I go. And then whenever I get a little bit later on, I'll check those questions and I'll answer them. So it's pretty easy. Tonight's gonna be easy. I don't know why I don't know if the text is overlapping for you. If it is, I apologize. But anyway, um, we're just going to take it easy and we're going to talk about a couple of things here. We're going to talk specifically about the care system and the way that we use that in Chiro Connect and how that benefits our clients. And then I'm also going to share the care system checklist that we kind of follow and then what a calendar should look like for you. And I will indicate when I'm on those screens and you can screenshot those real quick. That way you can remember those. And don't worry if you aren't in a place that you can screenshot or you don't know how to do it. No big deal. I'll send them in follow-up emails. Otherwise, just look for those and you want to screenshot those. If it's more helpful, you can always email me afterwards as the replay carries on. You can email and I can answer any questions that you might have following up from those screenshots. So anyway, you're gonna walk away with the screenshot of the care checklist and then the 30-day calendar. These just kind of, we're talking more like mindset and practical and how to blend those two together. So one anchor for tonight, one thing that I want you to really remember is that your patients aren't reading PubMed, so your emails shouldn't sound like it. That's just a statement that I've made over and over, and I continue to make it today. Your patients are humans. You talk to them like you're a human being every single time that you see them, and that's how you should communicate with them outside of your practice via text message or a phone call or email or DMs, however your team might be marketing. If they are, you want to sound like a human. So it's just an anchor statement that I'm trying to stick with, which is that your patients aren't reading PubMed, so your emails shouldn't sound like it. Keep it human and talk to them like they're a person. So most practices so let me kind of start over with this one, how I want to approach this topic. So this slide specifically is just to help you think about what we're talking about tonight. So if you're paying attention, you can see the slide and you see large gaps of empty space in this, schedule. That's where those leaks happen. The leaks are you don't and I know that I'm preaching to the choir, to the converted, whatever. The leaks in your bucket don't just happen suddenly. You're not just hanging out in practice for years and then all of a sudden there's this list of inactive patients. It happens an appointment at a time, a missed appointment, just like blocks that you didn't get filled in, empty slots. So most practices really leak revenue in those gaps. So two empty slots here, one empty slot there, a no-show, missed appointment. And the fastest fix for this is your owned list. In our world, email lands at about a 40% open rate. So when you show up consistently in a normal voice with a simple next step, those blanks turn into booked visits. So really thinking about the retention, thinking about reactivation and where email fits in, think about those little gaps in your schedule that you see just on and off consistently. And over time, that builds into a large number, which equals your patient list. So if you take a look here, uh, these aren't strangers to you. These are people who already trusted you at some point. They walked through your door, they paid you, you helped them. And then life got busy, right? Like I just took my kid to college last week. A week ago today, I moved my son into his dorm an hour away. It's not, and I actually ended up just, I think the week before, skipping my chiro appointment. And this is me, someone who works in this profession and who is so dedicated. I've dedicated 15 years of my life to chiropractic and marketing, the message that we all hold so dear. So I've done that, and still yet, not because I don't value my doc and his care, and definitely if anybody needs it, I do, after the shock of my of to my nervous system of my son moving away. Definitely I need it, but it's not that I'm not going to get back on track. It's that I got busy, some things happened, I had to move my son into college, so now I'm playing catch up. So these are those everyday things that happens in everyone's lives, including our own. At least certainly it does for me. so so think about your patient list as people you already know. These people are not strangers to you. They've been in your practice and they've trusted you before. All right. So, y'all, this is one of those slides I want you to screenshot. If you cannot screenshot it or you don't know how or whatever, don't worry. I am going to send it. I'm going to screenshot it myself. I'm going to send it over in an email with the replay so that you can see it. But this is the care system checklist. And this is really what we're going to talk about tonight. So if you want the whole playbook, like I said, it's all in one place. Screenshot this slide. Otherwise, I'm going to be sending it over to you anyway. Don't worry. So we're going to talk about the care system, and care stands for connect. And connect is where we show up consistently to our owned list, which is your list, with short human emails and consistency. You offer real availability. I can fit you in on Tuesday at 4:10 or Thursday at 11:40. Just reply Tuesday or Thursday. You keep it simple, one step at a time and one communication point at a time. But this is everyday, regular, consistent communication. The A is activate. This is for patients who have drifted off. Reactivations. So you're looking to activate that patient list, people who have been out, maybe they haven't been in for 60 days, maybe they've not been in for 90 days. So you want to reactivate by sending something, in this example here, like a 3 email campaign. Now, in a few of my previous webinars, you may have already seen the summer reactivation plan floating around. I may go ahead and include that in my replay just so that you have a quick access to it. I didn't make it a part of this webinar, but it is a 3 email reactivation plan that could be super helpful right here. That is literally a copy and paste. So for you DIYers, I will probably I'll make a note and I'll end up including that in my replay so you can get those emails. But the way you look at the retention is, or I'm sorry, the activation, um, is that you're looking to pull anyone who's not been in over 60 days, over 90 days. And the first thing that you're going to do is email a concern. Like, I'm concerned, I've not heard of you. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to speak on their level. What's happening? What is it that they came in with? So you may want to segment your list here. You may want to send one email campaign to people who have been in for back pain, and another email for people who have been in for sleep issues, a weekend warrior, who knows what. And then the last email, like a day 10, looks like a couple of real times that they can go ahead and grab, and an easy way for them to book. They can just reply to the email, call real quick, whatever the case may be, whatever your call to action is. They may be able to just book online, whatever. But the retain and I'm sorry, I keep saying retention for this point, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about activate and reactivations. I'm sorry about that. This is where you want to just keep it super simple, a 3 email campaign. This is better than a lot of docs I've seen in my career. I've worked with over 1,000 practices, and I've seen a lot of docs, you wait and wait and wait. And then there's like one, we miss you email. Oh, we miss you. We haven't seen you in a while. Come back in. That's really more about you and your feelings on the subject because you miss them. You want them to come back in. But the way that we tackle is more of like, we're going to show you concern. Like, we're concerned about you first and foremost. We have concern that whatever brought you in the first place is still occurring. So there's concern. We're going to address specifically what that was. And then there's the follow-up, the last minute, hey, we have a couple of bookings available for you. Let's choose one. So since I've had retention on the brain and that's what I keep trying to talk about, I'll move on to the R, which is retention. And we're going to go deeper into each of these points. But for right now, I'm just kind of covering the crux of it. So the retention, that's your weekly newsletter. So we're looking at weekly newsletters there. That's the steady drumbeat. That's, a same time, same day, every single week. You're staying consistent with that. A couple of quick reasons to why they're there. Patient education, and then you're informing them about what's happening in your practice, maybe even some testimonials or case studies. So retention is all about your weekly newsletter. It could be a monthly newsletter. So we actually have a client that we send both for. So just a quick little side story. So a client that we send a weekly newsletter, but then also at the beginning of the month, he has his own chosen monthly topic, a supplement of the month, and then they also host events. So we send a top of the monthly newsletter, and then also weekly, staying on point and checking in. So you can think about retention in a lot of different ways, but he sort of blends together new patient acquisition, especially with referral based campaigns, and also going into the events and the in-office events. And sometimes they're on Zoom. So sometimes it's just a Zoom event. Sometimes it's an in-office event. So either way, like, those are great things that you can use as retention tools, but also sometimes fall under, that new patient acquisition. And then last but not least, engaging. So at least once a month, send something that is ultra personal, timely, seasonal, lifestyle, written like you, sounds like a regular person, with one action and one action only. And that's either to book, to call, to register, to reply yes, whatever action that is that works best for your practice. You just want to give them one choice. So once a month, just really engage. And if you forget everything else, remember these principles down at the bottom. You take one idea, one action, and one ask. and that's it. You don't need discounts. You don't need to discount your care or bribe them to come in. You're literally just offering your service at a more convenient time for them. That's it. So lead with concern, clarity, real availability, and use this literal checklist. Use this checklist when these boxes are checked each month. Those empty gaps will start to fill in. So now we'll cover them just a wee bit in a little more detail. So here we go with Connect. So for this example, and I know that it's small and it's hard to read, but in this example, this was a very basic "we're out of office" email. This was, and I've talked about this one probably before, but or one similar, I know, which was basically just an hey, here's a last minute, we're out of office. Super simple, talking like a real person. We're going to be out of office. This was unexpected. We're going to have a long weekend, but I'm giving you a few days' notice. I have a couple spots open. Get with me. So basically, this is a super simple example of just everyday connections and staying connected. So, excuse me. So, short human emails. Next up is Activate. So, Activate brings patients back in who have drifted off. We talked about that a few minutes ago. And we send, usually, I did detail a few minutes ago, we send typically 3 emails over a 10-day span. So, day 1, we're showing concern. Day 5, there's specific help, and then day 10, a couple times held for you. And this sort of just and I hate to say that it takes this much. And this is, I wish I could remember this stat off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I was listening to a chiropractic marketing podcast maybe, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And she was talking about how many times you have to see the same message over and over and over. So there have been rules over the years, definitely over the last 20 years. I've been doing this a little over 15. And back then, when sort of Facebook was new, there was like the rule of sevens. And probably all of you have heard of the rule of seven, which is that someone has to see the message 7 times. That, like, I heard crazy stats that number is literally like 21 now, and they're saying it's even higher. So when you think about, oh no, I'm going to send 3 emails over the course of 10 days, maybe that's too much. I'm worried that will alienate my list or make them unsubscribe. 3 times over the course of 10 days, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at how much people are seeing things, that is not that much. And a lot of brands, a lot of businesses, a lot of services, no matter what they're in, what profession or vertical they're in, even if they're in healthcare, a lot of them email every single day or message every day in some way. So they're either mixing in email, text, social, DMs. They're doing something almost every day to connect with their audience. I'm seeing a lot of that, and I'm seeing a lot of chiropractors, especially high revenue offices that I have, are really leaning in heavy, and we're emailing. I have one practice that has a lot of practitioners, so a very large high revenue practice, and we're emailing 12 to 15 times a month, sometimes every other day. And but that's a very rare example of a high functioning practice. And then I also have another high revenue, high functioning practice that just wants to keep a connection, and they don't want me to do anything extra to draw attention to get to their appointments, because their schedules is already booked out so far in advance that they just want me to downplay. And we email once a week. That's all we do, is email once a week for that client, and it's very retention based as opposed to reactivation or filling appointments. So we work with the gambit and such a wide variety of practices that I really lean on that. From all of that experience, I lean in that in order to really connect and make a nice movement, it has to be more than once. You've got to send at least 3 emails in this campaign. So you've got to send 3 emails. You've got to keep on it. And what would be even better is if you did something like this in conjunction with your social. So if you're posting on social, talk about this campaign a little bit. Talk about, you know, concerns around. So if you're going to email out to your list about low back pain, combining a social, like a reel or a social post about back pain, and they're seeing it in your email, if they happen to get some organic reach as well on social, now you've got consistency. So docs, just try to stay consistent with it. Don't only send these three emails, but gets you started. And like I said earlier, I do have a 3 email summer reactivation plan that I'll include in the replay, in case you wanted to take advantage of that. So retention, again, retain is that's the steadiness. We've discussed that. That's that steady drumbeat. That's where they're coming in, they're going to get their, patient education. They're getting their, weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter, or both in some instances. They're getting their patient education. They're getting updated on your events and what's happening, maybe supplement of the month. I have a couple docs who really lean into that. Other therapies, new therapies, niche services, weight loss, red light therapy, decompression. The list can go on and on and on and on. This is where that every week where you're informing them, you're educating them, and they can take advantage of those things if they want to. If there is an ask in all of those, an ask to book online or call to book. We include those buttons in a couple different places in our newsletter, but basically retaining is just consistency. If all you have time for as a DIYer is a monthly newsletter that you pull together, this is sort of a formatting that you can follow. And again, this is in the checklist. If you screenshotted that earlier, and then I'll send it with the replay. But basically, you're looking at your practice voice. You want to include some nice images, maybe an image of yourself. In this example you have here, you just see the top little portion header of our newsletter, but the newsletter would have your logo in it. It has your photos in it. So you want to add those things if you're doing this either monthly or weekly, but some consistency. If it's monthly, choose one day of the month and a specific time and always get it out then. If it's weekly, choose one day out of the week and a specific time. We choose 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. Tuesday is also a good day. Thursday is a decent day. Tuesday and Wednesdays are the best. And then you want to avoid Mondays and Fridays, but it really just depends on how you are playing it out. But if you're good to send your reactivation emails on those other days, but for your newsletter, if you're going to go weekly, try to stick with like a Wednesday or a Tuesday. All right. And then engage is really just all about your personal touch. So engage is thinking back to school posture, in-office events, online events, schedule changes, new therapies. Keep it short, keep it local, keep it like it comes from you, because it obviously does, and finish with just a clear, strong action. So this is just one little example from an email that includes some events and some important dates. So this particular client likes to include important dates in their practice, and we usually include that in a monthly newsletter for that particular client. And in this example, he's doing a workshop, and it's obviously so this is for next month, for September, and obviously it will be chiropractic's birthday, so we're working ahead. We're working on our September content now, and this is where we're promoting his event. We're promoting chiropractic's birthday just to as an important date for his practice. So engage is all about just being really personal and local, seasonal. Again, this is where engage is more like a way of thinking, and you're being engaging. So if you're thinking, how do you engage with them in your practice, you want to try and keep that same thought process. Look back at intake forms, look at the language that you use. If you're looking to write these emails and you're DIYing this type of stuff, use Chat GPT. Look at your intake forms. Look at exactly the way that your patient presented their pain and their problems to you and now use that exact, like type it out word for word. My client said this. I have a lot of other clients who have the same problem. Write an email using this. There's prompts all over the internet. You can Google them. I've given them before. I have all kinds of them. If you're a DIYer and you have questions, just shoot me an email. You can email me at narissa@getchiroconnect.com. You can reply to any of my emails. My phone number is all over the place. You can text me and ask me. But basically, it's more about um really connecting with them. Get those AI prompts, detail out word for word what it is that you're saying that's going to, or what it is that they're saying that's going to connect with them whenever you write these emails, much greater than if you just go to something like AI or ChatGPT and you just type in, write an email about this. Like, that's never going to fly in a real patient setting. And you can just spot AI everywhere now. Like, I know if you're scrolling on social, you're seeing AI videos, you can spot those now. AI photos, everybody can spot those now. AI text, AI buzzwords, everybody can spot that now. So AI is getting um, wider known, and you can tell that a real person doesn't write that. So this is where you have to take more than just simple ChatGPT copywriting, and you have to think, okay, how would my patients say that, and what would they recognize and respond to if I'm emailing it to them or text messaging it, however you may be doing it. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to pull back, but I just want to say, um, the care system, follow the system, take the screenshots, and we'll move on. Um, so this is what a calendar could look like. This is another one of those screenshots. I'll send you this slide again, but be sure to screenshot it if you can. This is what like a 4-week calendar would look like. So I'm going to use my mouse. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm going to hope that you are and just pretend that you see it, and so you see where I'm pointing to. But essentially, you have like week 1, week 2, 3, and 4. And it's a little bit, my screenshot is ever so slightly off, and I'm not sure why. But Monday should be scooched over just a smidge to the right. And you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you have Friday. So what you end up having here is um, if for week 1, for example, you've got your newsletter going out on Wednesday and you've got your first activation campaign going out on Thursday. So let's say I'm just going to pretend that you sign up for Chiro Connect, and we'll talk about this because I see one of the questions that I see here says, what's included in your service? And I'll just go ahead and kind of briefly, I'm going to answer that question here in a minute, but I will briefly say, okay, this is what your calendar could look like. It could be more than this or less than this, but here's just an example. So you start out, like, let's say you signed up today. We can definitely have you emailing by next week. So what would end up happening is that next Monday, and that's not on this calendar, but I'm just telling it to you now. Next Monday, we would send a welcome to our newsletter email out to your patient list. And this is just a plain text email from you to them, just basically saying, hey, we're going to start emailing you a little bit more consistently now. That's it. It's super simple, and it kind of sets the stage. And then you'll see here, week 1, we could have a newsletter go out on Wednesday. Then we could start a reactivation campaign on Thursday. Then the following week, we're following back up with another, the second reactivation email. Then we've got on Wednesday, we've got another newsletter going out. This would be the second newsletter of the month. Then we've got the on Friday, we've got our last reactivation email. Then the following Wednesday, we've got as you can see here on Wednesdays, we've got another newsletter. Now we've got optional emails. You can see here on the 3rd Thursday of the month, we've got engage here. This could be a check-in. This is a hey doc, how you doing? Or not hey doc, hey, hey patient, how you doing? Hey patient, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to check in. Summer's coming to a close. Kids are back in school. What's going on? Just an engaging email. Optional. the next week, you're throwing out some availability to maybe a small list of people who haven't been in lately, and finishing out that fourth week with yet another newsletter. So you can see here how we can stagger in a calendar. Screenshot this. I'm gonna send you this slide. It will look a little bit better when I send it. Anyway, you can see it all up close and read it better. But that's what's included there. Um, So we discussed that. Let's see here. For example, I will show you guys this. So using the care system, taking into account, I showed you earlier under Connect when we were first talking about the care system. I was telling you guys about the email that I sent out that. The office closure email. So we sent out an office closure email for one of our clients. It was just the one single email that just said, hey, I'm going to be out of the office later this week. It's unplanned. Here are a few options if you want to get booked. This was the actual result of that. So it was about 48 hours that I took this screenshot later. So it had been a couple of days. And over the course of that time, you can see here that this client, I can't see what that says from right here. I can. 19, he got 19 clicks. So his list is 1,700. He had a 48% open rate. He had 19 clicks and 7 of those booked. So he ended up getting 7 appointments in over the course of the end of the week and then the following week when he got back. So he had opened up a couple extra slots. He ended up getting 7 appointments booked from this. And I just want to show you real quick what that looks like when you put it into practice. So this was just a simple, we're going to be out of office, last minute closure resulted in 7 bookings. So I wanted to just show you guys that real quick. So if you have any questions about the care system or the summer reactivation plan, I mentioned that earlier. I did not, like I said earlier, I hadn't planned to include that in the webinar, but I am going to email that over to you guys. But if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far, be sure to just type them into the chat box and I'll see them. So I did see the question that said, what's included in your service? I saw that a second ago. I'm not sure who asked it. Jonathan. Welcome and thank you for asking that question. So at Chiro Connect, our main focus is helping you get the most out of the list that you've already built. So you get weekly newsletters, you get monthly check-in emails, and then targeted reactivation campaigns. And we work with you to determine what's best for your practice and what it is that you're looking for. And then we come up with a calendar that works for you. And we, in the meantime, while we're doing that, we learn your voice, we learn about you, about the things that are happening in your practice and your team. And we spend about the first month kind of communicating back and forth a bit more than normal. And then it kind of tapers off. And after that, you just let us know when you have something new or you send us new patients. But we basically, you're looking at weekly newsletters, monthly check-in emails, and targeted reactivation campaigns. So basically everything that you would need to retain, reactivate, and grow your practice, all without you doing any of the work. So we do all of the planning, the writing, the sending. It comes from you. It's branded, with your branding. It sounds like you as much as possible. And basically, that's it. You can focus on caring for patients while we help keep your patients happy, healthy, coming in, consistently reactivating. We increase your retention, and there are a few testimonials you can see here. I have several more now. I jinxed myself, I think, in my other webinar. I think my last webinar, or maybe the one before, I said something like, we were a year in, one of the big stats that we had being a year into business, and we're almost 18 months in right now. But when we hit 12 months, at that time, we had no cancellations of our service. And I really started in on bragging about that. And then we got 2 cancellations. And we got 2 cancellations in the same week. And I'll tell you, it like it destroyed my soul, destroyed my heart a little bit, but not really, because I will tell you, I didn't even try to keep those clients, because after thinking about it, they just really, one of them overkill, wanted to go hire someone and have a marketing person. I don't think that they needed to go that route just yet, uh, but it's a cool thing. I hope that that works out, and then they realize that it would be a lot easier for their person, whoever they hire, to hire us to just do the emails, and it would be better in the long run. So I feel like that one might be back. Another one that we lost was just not a good fit for us, and so that one. I said, thank you so much for giving us a try. I'm sorry it didn't work out. You weren't happy. We weren't happy. It just happened, you know? So I'm taking that as a second to say that what's included in our service is almost like another team member. So you're getting someone who, a real person, a human being from the US. We're a family owned and operated business. So you're going to have someone who I personally, physically know, who I have met in person, who is doing the work on your account. They're designing your emails, they're taking your thoughts, your voice, everything into account, and they are sending those emails on your behalf and monitoring the performance of those. And then we start out by trying to set a baseline and going from there to increase and get your open rate as high as possible. Because, like the example earlier, this is something that I didn't say, but if you look at this email and you really think about, what does 48% look like that's a ton of people. That is, oh no, you guys know what? I gave you the wrong screenshot right here, and I just zoomed in and saw this includes 4 campaigns, not the one campaign I was talking about. I'm gonna have to like fix that. I will probably end up sending you in the replay just an updated slide because I'm off here, but it's to the same effect. That's what, wow. The reason I grabbed the wrong slide is because I saw this one, the open rate was almost 48%. And so that's what I knew that I was going for. So it just ended up that I grabbed the one, or the wrong one, but the stat still remains. And I can't give you the extra little bit of detail because I did put the wrong screenshot in here, but the stat still remains. It's still true that there was a 48% open and there were 7 bookings. But I'll skip that extra point I was going to make. Anyway, I'll rein it back in. I'm not sure what time it is. It's 6:37. I've already been going on for almost 40 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up for you guys. It's supper time. I think we had one more question though. What do your emails look like? That is a great question and just super fast. I get that question in almost every single webinar that I do. So I was prepared that I had a couple of our newsletters open in another tab. I had at least one of them open. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. That's a great question, Craig. Thank you for asking. Let's see here. Let me share. All right, y'all. So this week, and I only talk about medications and opioid, that kind of discussion maybe twice a year. So this week was about breaking free from the refill. So patient education, just around breaking free from medications and what that could look like for them in a natural setting. So there's patient education. And then there's this little call to action here where they can either call to book or schedule online. This client just bought one of these really cool red light therapy beds. So we talk about that a little bit. And the purpose of this email was just honestly just to let them know that it exists. And then we're sending additional email campaigns about that. Every week, we also have the week of wellness. And if you get, um, well, I know that you get my emails because you're here and you're on this webinar. But if you're not opening my weekly newsletters that I send out, that's from Chiro Connect, I do include this weekly wellness calendar. And actually, this week, that was the whole topic of today. Actually, it would have went out at 11 a.m. Eastern today. So go look for that newsletter. And that whole newsletter is talking about this calendar, because I don't know if all of you know this, or some of you know me for my previous work, because I've been in the profession for so long, but this calendar stems from Amplified. I don't know if you have heard of Amplified, but that's where I started my career. I've been a part of Amplified, and I also was the behind the scenes partner that helped build the Smart Chiropractor and their email program. So that's the background that I come from. So I'm very familiar with the other emails that get sent out, the other programs. But just to take you back, something that I didn't include that I wish I would have now that I'm saying it in the newsletter today, is that this calendar, so this week of wellness, this is the number one feature that docs tell me about that their patients like in the emails that go out every week. We have a weekly wellness calendar, and way back in the Wayback Machine, I'm talking y'all like 15 years ago, probably not quite 15, but 12 years ago, probably 11 years ago, I developed a 30-day calendar. It used to be a PDF that looked a little bit similar to this, and docs would print that out and literally on a piece of paper and hang it up in their practice, and it was a 30-day monthly calendar. And I developed that, like I said, 12, 13 years ago. It's the most wildly popular piece of content that Amplified ever had. um, I guess super popular. And I adapted that into something that I could send via email, which is this little calendar that you see here. So I talked about that. Like I said, go to your inbox. If you're here or you're watching this, go to your Wednesday, August 20th inbox. Look for the email that you got from me from Chiro Connect, our weekly newsletter. So in that newsletter, we talk all about this calendar. So you can see here, this changes out every week. We always have a little call to action here. We always have a chiropractic definition of the week. And then everything else is all about our affirmations of staying healthy, spreading the message, lots of different things. So that changes. There's also these super cute images in every newsletter. These are story sized images. So this would be, we find that chiropractic patients really love sharing about their success with chiropractic care. Also, they like to share affirmations and posts on social media themselves that encourage other people to be healthy and live their best life. And we include a couple of those in every newsletter. And then here's a testimonial, and then we follow that up with more buttons and social media buttons down at the very bottom. So this is an example of what that looks like. I also had another one to show you real quick. Here's another example. In this one, this practice is like I said, I get this question every single webinar I've had. Someone's asked what our newsletter looks like, so I just wanted to be prepared this time, and I think I'm gonna come up with some kind of cool web gallery or something that you guys can see more of our full newsletters, because it's so hard to share these in any other way. Anyway, so you'll see here, this doc is doing a giveaway, a Theragun giveaway to people that leave a review. Then at the bottom, this doc also has a supplement of the month. So we've got, a standard process supplement of the month and call to action buttons for you to schedule online. So that is what our newsletter looks like. Thank you for asking. I get that question, like I said, every single time. So I wanted to be sort of prepared with it. So now I'm just going to scooch us on to the final slide here. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, I see the plan, I see the system, it all sounds great, it's awesome. How do I do this? I can't do this on my own. That's exactly why I built Chiro Connect. So we're not a software. Funny story, like I'll be totally transparent. We're not a software. We're a service. I come from a software background. My former business partners and other projects that I've worked on have all leaned into the software space. Everyone wants to be a software owner. There's less overhead. You don't have to have a big team. You don't have to hire people. You can just have a couple of people and they can manage hundreds of accounts. because you're doing it using software, not humans. And that's at the time that I thought to myself, I'm going to create Chiro Connect. I was coming from just a terrible place. My husband had passed away. Things weren't working out with my partners, my business partners. Everything was changing in my life. My kids, are adults now. They're growing up. Sort of everything is changing. And I found my place, or found myself in a place of not knowing what I'm going to do next, or not knowing if I'm going to continue to work in the chiropractic profession. And luckily for me, my good friend turned boyfriend was so supportive and really pushed me to think about the type of business. He knew my background and knew the business I had come from. He encouraged me to think, okay, take everything that you know about the profession, everything you've learned doing what you've done in your career, and put yourself in the chiropractor's place. And what is it that they actually need? And what they need is real help. You don't need another software that you don't even know that your emails aren't going out, or that something's wrong. The software doesn't even know until those things start happening, like your emails stop going out, or there's a problem in the software. The people owning the software, running the software, they don't even know that until you notice it and you email in, hey, there's a problem. Versus if you have a real person who's monitoring everything that you're doing, and they're saying, okay, we're a real team of people, we're going to build a real team of people here in the US who can connect. We honestly connect worldwide. We have several countries that we're working in. Half of our clients right now are in Canada, which shocks me to death just because such a small portion previously were. So I've learned a lot in the last year and a half with Chiro Connect. And what I've done is taken and built a team of people and built a service that gets to know your practice, your voice, your goals, your patients. And then we plan campaigns around that, and we deploy them, we write them, we deploy them, and then we monitor them, and we watch your performance, and we work to just continue to improve it. There's no ceiling. I've never known well, I actually have known of small campaigns. It's You can get 100% open rate. I'm gonna say, if you send a small campaign to a very small group of people, I've sent a campaign to a couple dozen people that had 100% open rate. But if you're looking to send to over 1,000 people or up to that, that's a harder thing to get to, is that higher number, and the ceiling is never too high. So that's what we're striving for, is to get to 100. So like I said, everything that we do follows the care system that I've laid out here. And because at the end of the day, you can't automate trust. You can build it one genuine message at a time. And this is the deal. So you can join Chiro Connect right now for $199 a month. This price is going to go away. When I started Chiro Connect, like I said, my boyfriend, who's awesome, will eventually be my husband. He really pushed me to think about what is that the profession needed, and what I had learned, and challenged me to bring that to the table, as opposed to, here's what I've done before and I'm just going to lean back into what I've done before. No, I'm going to take and I'm going to really think about that. And I'll be honest, we started out as being a cheap solution. What I wanted to do was create a really easy, scalable solution, that didn't cost a lot of money. So we started out a little bit less. And now, though, as time has gone on and we've gotten so personalized, we check your social media. If you post on social media, we're there looking every single week and pulling in social media. If you post reels, we're pulling in your reels. If you post to YouTube, we're pulling in your YouTube. We have grown. And I've learned so much that really what the docs are wanting is less of the cookie cutter, less of the cheap, and they want, more value. And docs want someone who spends the time to get to know them and then talks to their patients as they would. So that's what it is that we're trying to do. And I hate to go off rails and be crazy long-winded about it, but I can't help myself. So So forgive me, but where I'm at in this, we're a year and a half in now, and I'm just really happy with the service that we're providing and with the emails that we've got going out. And I just get all excited to talk about it. So I'll go ahead and wrap up. We're way into this, way longer than I anticipated going. If you didn't get those screenshots, don't worry. I'm going to email it to you. I told you I'm going to email you the reactivation plan too, because I talked about that and didn't include it here. I am going to go ahead though. One thing I did not do is throw any links into the chat. So I'm going to throw in right now. There is a link to my Calendly. You can book a call with me. It doesn't matter whether you want to sign up for my service or if you just have questions, you're DIYing it and you've got general questions. I'm happy to talk that down with you just to help you out. My mission doesn't change, even if you're not paying me. I don't care. My mission is still to combat big pharma and big healthcare surgeries that are needless. So, any doc that I can talk to, I will tell you a fun fact, something that's new for us. We are growing every freaking day, y'all, like for real. We have grown so much in the month of August. July was a huge month for us. We're growing. We're sending so many patient facing emails that I'll be completely honest with you. I've said this before while I'm watching and I'm streaming TV and I'm seeing pharmaceutical commercials. In my mind, every single email that gets sent out from a doc to a patient is just an email that's in our direction. It's just an email that um that is just one more notch in the direction of natural solutions and natural healthcare as opposed to big pharma and all of that. So, even if you're not paying me, even if you're not joining my service or signing up, I don't care. Book that call anyway, and we'll talk it all down. I also included the link for you to just sign up if you want to skip the line and get started so we can literally start emailing you or for you next week. Go ahead. The 199 link is there. Um, Click that to sign up, click Calendly. I appreciate everybody that's been here. Thanks for sticking with me for almost an hour. I apologize for going so long. And that's all I really wanted to share with y'all tonight. So thanks so much, and I will see you next time.